Hello boys, my name is Cleoshi, and welcome back to my 100%, well now basically a collect-all Pokemon walkthrough for Pokemon Legends Arceus for the Nintendo Switch. In the last episode, we left off attempting to get certain Pokemon and a couple of other stuff. Today I found out how to do some certain evolutions, so we're going to do those next. Because a lot of people were probably complaining not seeing these evolutions, so they're going to fix that and do both of those evolutions right now. They are some of the rare ones to get, and as far as I know, you need the Peapock and the Sunstone each in order to do these evolutions. You cannot do it without this setup. Now, the reason why I didn't necessarily want to use it on P-Tilly right away is because I actually wanted to... P-Tilly's upgraded form actually has a required Path of Solitude again as part of one of the new requests that's dropped. In fact, they're probably going to drop a lot more by the end of this. So with that in mind, I'm going to evolve it right now so we can at least see what it looks like. And as for Ursula, if you're wondering why this is nighttime and not some specific time, one evolution is very tough. It requires using specifically a Peapock on Ursaluna only in a full moon. It is very difficult and is certainly one of the most difficult things I've had to do in a while. Not to mention, I still have to deal with other spots and other stuff, and I'm going to get rid of Poison Powder because it's not really that good. But yes. So, by changing it to Logan, we actually get it into a completely different form altogether. Now, this next one, we don't necessarily need all of it. All we need is a Peapock, and that'll be enough. The problem is, you can only do it on a full moon, so I had to purposely change it multiple times until the night time went to a full moon. But because of all the changes I made, it already is rolled around to a cycle that will get us Ursula, so we could just do that, and there we go. We got both of those hidden Pokemon. Now, I said that at some point I would normally go for other Pokemon, but I kind of lied. I'm not actually that interested. There is one Pokemon in particular I'm going to go for, but then once I get that, I'm probably just going to ignore it and go for Quest, because I think I've mentioned multiple times I wanted to do Request. You see, the problem is you require specific setups to do them with. So, because of that, I have to do some other stuff. So, before I even do anything else, I'm just going to go straight to this. Since I need to go to somewhere else to get this done. The big thing is I have to find I can Bastion somewhere. And, yeah, just as I thought, in classic fashion, we have to farm them in space-time distortions. Ugh, I honestly hate the ones where you have to find them during space-time distortions, because unless you also find them during massive mass outbreaks, they are not easy to find by any means. I don't know why I was just chill walking. I should be doing other stuff. In fact, I forgot why I came here. It wasn't to sell money. Oh yeah, it was to get Logant some move. Logant and actually a couple of other characters some moves, because pretty soon they're gonna have a soul charge as well, and I want to have as best of a setup as I could possibly can. So we'll first check to see what it can learn. Okay, Logan has basically nothing. But the main ones we are looking for are Dialga and Palkia, which do require a couple of things. We'll start by just getting them the beam combos, and then get one Draco Meteor. And I guess for him I'll get Steel Beam as well, but that's about it. I won't get anything else. That's the big ones that we need, at least. So yeah, if they weren't already overpowered enough, they get even more moves from other stuff. And for him, we're gonna do literally the exact same thing. I forget exactly what we need to use, but given the record with these characters, I know one of them's gonna try and use Ice, and one of them's gonna use, what is it? A Grass-type Pokemon, or partially Umbreon. So, now that I've gotten that, I want to first change their moves so that their moves are set up a bit better. As funny as Earth Power, cool as Earth Power is, I don't like it a lot. I'll keep its Roar of Time because that's his iconic move. But I'm gonna give it Flamethrower and let's see what else. It's gonna be I forgot. I forget stuff a lot. I forget exactly what we face, but I know something requires Flamethrower, and I also just realized if it's Leafeon and Leon, both of them, then it doesn't really matter what I do next. But I will give it Flamethrower and Thunderbolt, I guess, just to have it better move spread. So I guess that's what I'll do. I'll just give it Thunderbolt and keep its iconic move. And then Palkia is the big one that I'm actually more focused with. He basically requires Flamethrower, otherwise not much could be done. So I thought I would do that, and maybe we'll mix it up a bit. Throw some Ice Beam to the mix. All I know is it needs Flamethrower for a particular Pokemon, so we need to make sure that it has that before it does other stuff. And yes, I find it kind of crazy. A water-type Pokemon using fire-type moves. I guess when you have the legendaries, it could be almost anything. But anyways, before I actually do anything else, I'm actually gonna do other stuff first. Unless a mass outbreak popped, and then I could have gone there. Since I need big other stuff, the only way to really get that thing consistent is with massive mass outbreaks. And that's probably actually gonna be how I have to get Shieldon or anything in space-time distortions. Because back for a while, you can only get certain Pokemon through space-time distortions, but if you instead go in a massive mass outbreak, you can find them there as well. But anyways, the big thing I want to do here is both of these areas I'm about to do, or quests I'm about to do, are technically actually solo challenges, so they are technically their own versions of Path of Solitude, which makes them not really that easy to do by any means. So with that in mind, to actually complete this particular one, we have to get edits so that only Dialga or only Palkia is in our party. If not, then they will refuse to battle us. And the first one I forgot to mention, the first guy we're facing, he has to be fought with only Dialga in the party. That is it. You cannot do it with anything else. So, after what seemed to be a lot of waiting, we're finally ready to take on these hidden characters, which aren't really hidden, they're just Adam and Iridia. We actually talked to Iridia by accident, because we went in there thinking it was a new request that, you know, time changes a lot of things, but the sea stays the same. The Celestial people must have looked at this exact same view long ago. I've got a favor to ask you, Yoshi. Something the matter? It's something about my grandfather told me. He said the Adamant Crystal has the power to change Mighty Dalkia into his hilary form. Hello. I want to see all the strength that my partners and I have got. I want to see if all the strength my partners and I have got is enough to take down Mighty Dialga in that otherworldly form. That's what he wants. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, we still have to use the evolution stone setups. Thankfully, that's pretty simple. We just need to find the actual crystal when it says used on Dialga, then use that, and it'll look different. And if we use it again, we could then transform it back. But anyways, let's take a look at what happens after that happens. So, before that happened, Dialga was just a steel dragon and nothing else. And in this form, he remains a steel dragon. Not much has really changed, but he does look a lot cooler. Okay, so now that he's changed form, we're going to battle him. You have to battle him with only Dialga. Mighty Dialga gave us the gift of time, and I want to see its real power in battle. Alright, let's do it. Mighty Dialga, let me stand before you as leader of the Diamond Clan to find out in battle what I am really made of. Alright, so these are the last remaining trainers. Okay, so yeah, I was partially right. If you use either Flamethrower or Ice Beam, you can super affect the main character you face. So this is why we got Flamethrower in the first place, was for this battle. So we're gonna start by taking out Leafeon because it's by far its strongest Pokemon. Unfortunately, we also did this in the rain, which is a bit annoying because we won't be able to... Our Flame Fire moves won't really be that effective, but not much that we can do otherwise. I'm not sure if you could even use any items that, like, I might need them, though, if I'm good enough. Because, again, you can't use items in other battles anyway. Okay, I'm gonna take out the next person I'm gonna take out is the one that I cannot super affect. Oh, we already have 2 moves against them, so no need to use Agile Style here. Just use Flash Cannon a couple times to take it down. Okay, now I got rid of the one that is not resistant to me. We can just deal with the resistant one first, next, and we're done. And because we just got this, and that move defeated in 1 hit, and there we go. See, didn't even need to use any Heliums. Dialga's just that broken. Didn't need to roll it out much either. The sheer power of Mighty Dialga, it's too much to comprehend. I'm still shaking even now. But through our battle, I think I understood the will of Mighty Dialga. Isn't that amazing? When you battle all out with someone, you really understand them. Imagine if everyone in Hishui partnered up with Pokemon to express themselves through battle. Living here would be even more fun. I think I'll have my clan folks start training up at Jubilife's trade grounds. Hope we can count on seeing you there, Yoshi. So I guess this also unlocks a battle that you can do a bit later then. At least from what I am getting. Alright, now for the next part, we have to do the same exact switch over, but this time to Mighty Palkia. I kind of just add that because, well, that's what they call them. So, it makes sense, I guess. They are mighty after all. Using this on it allows it to change into its martial form. So we're gonna do that to it, and then very quickly just go back to the village. And Iridia's wish is actually in a completely different area. It's in the second area, Crimson Milands, even though it has other stuff. Fortunately, the massive mouse outbreak is not in the area I wanted, but there's also one in Cobalt Closelands, which may have a rare setup. So, second thought, I'm going here because I need a Magnemite in particular from here, and it could appear in mass outbreaks in this area, so I do want to check that first. And I'll make sure to put in my other Pokemon if I need them. Alright, let's see. It's easier to obviously do this because otherwise it could be really difficult to look for each individual one, and you can only look if there are like 3. Okay, Skirpy we already got. Tentacle would be nice. Cleffa we already got. Now, it used to be cool. Okay, unfortunately, no good mass outbreaks. Alright, well, since it's not the one we wanted. We're just gonna leave. If there's none, then there's no reason to do anything. And yes, this is technically a respawn trick. If you want to farm massive mass outbreaks without doing stuff, you can just leave and re-enter into any individual zone and then immediately exit it. I'm obviously not gonna do that. Instead, I'm gonna use the time to actually go and do Iridia's Wish next, because that's the only other one left that isn't a Path of Solitude request. And I did mention I would do all the non-Path of Solitude requests, as well as some Path of Solitude ones. It's just that I didn't expect them to be added, to then add a lot more as it came up to things. So anyways, head back to here, and we can go. I want to know my Palkia's power first had. The power that space itself into being. You got it. Alright. A step forward into the great wide world takes bravery and determination. Alright. And yeah, okay. Nothing really changes. Our first one that gets used is Leafeon for Adam, and Iridia here uses a Glaceon, so we can take them both out just using Flamethrower alone. Of course, because of our strength, our slightly weaker strength, we aren't able to defeat them in one hit. Okay, because we didn't take out Glaceon one hit, that might be bad for later. Depending on what they do. It depends. Now we check. Oh, we can cheat. Okay, then. Well. Why not? If it weren't for that damage of the Ice Beam, we would have easily won without items, but I don't want to have time to really wait for just these on battles, so I'm just going to do that. We're going to throw a quick Hydro Pump here. Completely obliterate both of them. It's just, I'm worried they have something that's bad. And given the amount of damage you can take rather quickly, you can get destroyed if you're not careful. Of course, if I just upgraded it to Strong Style, I could have also used that, and that would work too. Not like that would have changed anything. They already got 2 moves on us each, so that tells you Palkia is kind of slow right now. Sheer power of mighty Palkia, though. It's as unfathomable vast as space itself. I'm in awe before it. That was incredible. Must have been the Pearl Clan's almighty sail. Like, the Pearl Clan's leader can really hold their own in battle, too. Did you hear that? The people of Diamond Clan praised their almighty sail. They praised mighty Palkia. I want to take this spirit of respecting and cherishing one another and spread it throughout vast Italy, and I'll do it through battling. I decided on behalf of the entire Pearl Clan, we'll bring our battles to Jubilite Village training grounds to let these ideas flourish. So by doing all of that, they just go to the training grounds. That's how you get them to go to the training grounds. And speaking of that, that is where we're going next. This is going to be probably the biggest part of the game for a bit, because we're going to be doing multiple Path of Solitudes in a row. I did say I wasn't going to do nothing with that. Obviously, I had to do something to do other steps. And then once I get through all those, I actually have a little bit of a surprise at the end as well that we might do. But first, we have to go through and individually insert each of these guys in one by one. So, I need to actually move this guy into here. In case you're wondering, Pastor 23 is what I'm using to let myself know that those are the Pokemon I need to use for Path of Solitude. Now, by the way, this next battle that I'm about to show off is also one of the hard ones to do. I say that pretty strongly, too. It's not easy by any means, and, yeah. It essentially requires hitting a blizzard. In case you didn't notice, blizzard is around 75% accuracy. Hitting 2 blizzards, well, that's gonna take a little while. Thankfully, this guy kind of throws us a bone. That is Indigo, of course. Because guess who he uses? Alright. This is why I got Freeze Rotom, by the way. Alright. Yep, it's a Garchomp. So we do 4 times weakness to him, which I guess is a good benefit. The problem is, we don't get much chances to use it before he kills us. Our basic idea is to just immediately hit it in 1 turn. That being said, because we gave him Frostbite, that also works as well because he's gonna take multiple damage, which could potentially just take him out altogether in 1 hit, which helps out a bit. Let's see. Fortunately, that didn't work, so we're gonna have to use yet another Blizzard. And thankfully we got the double hit pretty quickly. Alright, that wasn't that bad, actually. Alright. And Path of Solitude complete with this one. Alright. Got some decent experience out of that. Most splendid. Rotom has reached the final station on its Path of Solitude. I add a mark signifying its victory to the page for Rotom in your Pokedex. Alright. And we get XP Candy Zell. I knew he could do it. What a thrill to see a Pokemon best the Path of Solitude like that. Also, if we talk to him again... Apparently, there's more requests as well that were added as well, although I think you have to clear the other requests first before he will add more of them. I'm guessing because not a lot of people have cleared these requests, maybe they've added more as they've gone on, or just had other stuff happen. It's kind of weird, but anyways, I'm gonna go from that to Blissy's Path of Solitude next because it's one of the more interesting ones. So this one is actually probably one of the more tougher ones that not only requires max HP and other stuff, but requires a really good mood and other stuff whatsoever. And as you can see, yeah, in case you didn't already notice, I've been trying to get what's called natures, which depending on the nature, it boosts different stuff. My idea was to get, obviously, a defensive nature on this Blissey, because if I had it, it would more easily survive attacks from the opposing opponent. However, because of all the other setups, and yeah, I haven't been able to do that. But I did find a way around it. I found out you could use basically any nature other than a defense dropping nature, so I just went with neutral, which boosted nothing, and also reduced nothing, because I just think that would be simpler than doing anything else. Beyond that, we basically need to have enough power similar to Magikarp, where we have to survive this guy's attack at least twice. Otherwise, we get screwed. And you can kind of see where this is going. There's no way we're going to take a Snorlax in 1 time. Instead, the way we're going to take it out is it's going to do nothing but that double edge. Each time it uses it, it's going to reduce its HP by a decent amount. And we have to use soft-boiled 10 times or so-ish in a row to just keep healing through the damage until we get other stuff. And there's not really a point to using Agile Style because, as you see, it doesn't give us an extra move. And this is why we need enough power to survive, because if we don't have enough power or too little speed, it could potentially get 2 moves on us instead of 1. Thankfully, it's not super effective, but it still does a decent amount of damage. And this also definitely shows off one of the more interesting strategies. The fact that you have to heal through this fight to get through it is quite unique, the way it's designed. But yeah, essentially, once we actually get into the fight, the strategy's surprisingly simple. Just use nothing but healing moves, and then even if it runs out of moves, it'll just struggle to death. And we just wait until it faints from recoil damage, and there we go. It just killed itself. So we kind of just sit and use soft-boiled, while Starks kind of just kills himself. And that's how we win. It's kind of silly, but it's unique. It's unique, and I like it. And we do get a lot of XP candies for finishing that, so that helps out a bit. I knew you could do it. What a thrill to see your Pokemon best the path of Solitude like that. Alright. Yeah, alright. Next one is Wormadam. This one is a bit more intense, but also a bit more simpler. We have to use Agile Style once, and then Strong Style after that. In case you're wondering why my Wormadam is Trash Cloak, now you'll probably see why. Because Wormadam Trash Cloak is required for this battle, because otherwise it'll be quad effect. Otherwise, a move that this next Pokemon uses might be quad effective against it, which is not good. So by giving it a Steel type, it does neutral damage instead, which actually gives Wormadam the fighting chance. Only reason why it's Crash Coke. Otherwise, not much else is needed. Alright. Oh, and yes, we have to survive 2 of these, by the way. Though I'm pretty sure you would have expected it. So anyways, the strat is to go Iron Head. And use Agile Style. In the Agile Style a couple of times, then use Strong Style to get another hit. Except it seems like it's not giving that. This is a bit weird, honestly. I actually expected it to have Agile Style more, but it didn't work. Alright, I probably should have just Strong Styled this. I like how you can go straight back into the challenge if you fail for no reason or never. I'm not sure if this was random speed rush or other stuff, but what's supposed to happen is you can get 2 moves in a row after a little bit. Well. Okay, we still do not want Togetic to get 2 moves on us. So we'll use Agile Style once just to at least weaken it. And then I think we just have to use Strong Style. That's the problem we've actually been missing. Also, I think if we don't use Agile Style, it might just straight up kill us anyway. Alright. Ah, not enough still. That tells me its attack needs to be raised, and also because of the weird strat was set up, technically it could just win with just Strong Style twice. I just realized that. That's fun. What's funny is this is not what the game usually expects you to do. It actually expects you to use 2 moves in a row against it, and you do that by using Agile Style to set it up. But apparently this dam is too slow for that, probably because it had speed reduction, is what I'm guessing. But I can partially fix that by just using Strong Style right now. And if it could just... Oh, yeah, okay. It doesn't even take it out. But by the way, now you see what happens when it does Unstyle without the same attack. And also, if it's still... Okay, yeah, it still doesn't kill. We need... Alright, that simple as that. We need more power on this Wormadam, unfortunately. I did try and grind to a certain point, but it's not easy by any means. At least he doesn't taunt us for or beating us. That's the good thing. Alright, well, we obviously need more power on this spy. Quite a bit in particular in speed, so we're gonna use 2 of these. And then try again, and hopefully this time it'll work. You might see us do this quite a bit because, well, I did try to set up as many Pokemon for the Path of Solitude, and I do feel like I got most of them ready, though because of nature varieties, the strategy I do won't always work. Again, I probably needed more speed, so I, did this. Oh, crit, that's not good. And yes, I do have to deal with random crits as well. Okay, this time it's much closer. If it had not gotten the crit, we would have easily won. That was our own RNG fault. And yes, I forgot to mention, we do still have to deal with the random RNG setup. So we're gonna try this again, but this time let's not have it crit us right off the bat. And we can't run for the battle, so we have to let it play out to its fullest if it does. Yeah. Okay, that time it did not crit. I think actually the intended strategy... Oh wait, now I remember why. I didn't have enough speed for this earlier, but the strategy I was using earlier did actually work. It's just, instead of using the strategy I did before, I'm supposed to use Agile style twice and then finish it off with a Strong style later. But as you can see, my actual Strong style doesn't really do much from it, because when I use it, it doesn't give me an extra turn, probably because I don't have enough speed. But the idea, yeah, is to use that so that Agile style gives Wormadam an extra move, and then do that. But because I have enough tanking powers, I was able to defeat it anyway, so... There we go. Kind of a tight challenge. Again, like most of these other ones, they are just based off of level. If you don't have a strong enough level or strong enough stats, they will automatically not work. And some more Exceed candies. And depending on what difficulty you are, they also give different candies. The harder ones give the really hard ones give XL candies, the harder, semi-harder ones give L candies, and the slightly easier ones give only medium candies. It's actually kind of varied. But anyway, we got that done. And for no reason or another, we're gonna do Roselia next, because Roselia's is actually kind of interesting, and it involves using Venoshock a bit. Fortunately, I actually forgot the strategy with this time, so I'm gonna have to first flip back to that. And, oop, I forgot to move this guy out. That's a thing that'll sometimes happen. But yeah, lots of these Path of Solitude requests. Oh, there's another one, too, as well, in kind of the middle of this. They must have added more of these as they went on. Wait. This was odd. Well, before I do the setup, let's actually check what request I have, so I can actually figure out whether or not I'm going for this request or something else. Okay, yeah, I was correct. It is a Roselia Path of Solitude. It's just, apparently they added even more of them than I initially thought, so I guess that makes things a bit awkward. Alright. Oh, I just realized. Magikarp's requirements actually requires around level 90. No wonder why it was so difficult. Alright, well, we have one more that we want to do. Alright, we have the right moveset, though. Okay. If I accidentally selected a different battle, yeah, this could be really bad. Alright, Staravia. So this is why this fight might be more difficult, because yes, there's a Staravia that we have to beat, and because of the way it's set up, Staravia will always outspeed it. But we can slow it down and turn the tide of tables by using the move Stun Spore in particular. Alright. And then, after we do that, we use Strong Style's Steam Venal Shock immediately following that. And Venal Shock, as you can see, kind of does a ridiculous amount of damage. It is pretty busted. Funnily enough, it didn't even do what I expected. It actually gave it Sleepness for some reason. But that's not like that's gonna matter, because we apparently did not have enough strength there. But yes. Yes, you need enough strength for that, of course, again, but there's also another thing that can happen as well. If Staravia were to get paralyzed, which is another thing we can farm out, we could just have it not move, and that will give us the win. Simplest way of doing this, though, is to, first do a, not a regular Pokemon battle, but Path of Solitude. So let's continue on to this. We definitely have the levels to do this, and the nature is just whether or not we actually get lucky enough to beat him. Alright. There's actually a challenge for Roserade as well. Hello. This is new. I've gone before him somehow. Oh yeah, and I forgot to mention, yeah, there's also the RNG Nightmare as well. If you get unlucky, the game will just give you destruction in a nutshell anyways, because as you saw there, the game doesn't mention this, but Stun Spore can also miss. So, if you get a miss, it's an immediate reload, which unfortunately happened. So, that's another thing that makes this annoying, and I should have mentioned that, but yeah, Stun Spore could just miss. If it misses, it's an instant loss, as you see there, because it always does that style move, which usually guarantees its success. So, we need to paralyze it in order to get a win. Otherwise, we just lose. But anyways, we got the hit the second time. And now, let's see if it gets paralyzed. Nope. But we survived. Let's see. Okay, we cannot, get Agile Style, so we'll just have to use Strong Style. Hope for the best. And yes, Venal Shock has a unique effect that'll do double damage if the opponent you're using it on has a stat move. Which electric type move or paralysis is technically considered that. So if you use a single status on it, it could be anything. And anything, though paralysis is safer since you could also have it not move. Then you use Venal Shock and Strong Style, it does a lot of damage because it technically doubles in power because of that. Which is why it did so much damage, and that's our strategy. Unfortunately, as you saw, that strategy is not always successful. It has some RNG, quote-unquote RNG, that can make it a bit difficult. Also, I did do a little bit more research. Magikarp needs about 218 defense and 200 HP, which right now it doesn't have. So it needs to probably be grinded up a bit more, but we can just use some XL candies to get it up and hope for good luck, because technically it can also survive lower at these values, but it needs really good RNG to do that. Of course, if it had the ability to learn other special moves, we would definitely give it to them, but, yeah, Magikarp can't really learn any TMs, so not much we can do here. Alright. Anyways, I actually completely missed Abra's Path of Solitude somehow, but we set up a good strategy that seems to work well for it by kind of just giving it all of the most overpowered moves in the game. And while I could have technically give it some other stuff, I found out Shadow Ball to just be one of the better ones. So anyways, I had to Ingo with this one, and this one is the surprisingly easiest challenge in the game. It looks scary at first, but it's not, because the opponent you're using only uses Mimic. So you probably see where this is going. And more specifically, it's a Mr. Mime who uses Mimic. So we have to use Teleport to get it to Mimic Teleport, and then it'll fail constantly. Of course, because it outspeeds us, it's going to use that first. But then, once that's done, we just use Teleport once. It doesn't even have to hit, and then it'll Mimic it. Then once it's mimicked it, we just spam it with other moves. As for the most consistent move to use against this boy, I found out that it can learn Shadow Ball, so I just gave it Shadow Ball, and that'll do more than enough damage. I also leveled it up a bit considerably. You can do it at level 16, but it seems faster to just use Shadow Ball and also use it at higher level, because as you saw there, it can also lower their defensive stats, making them take more and more damage, meaning instead of using, what, like 10 moves that you would normally use, you could just use this 5 or 6 times and it'll be done. Simple as that. So really, if you want to do this fight the best, just get Shadow Ball, and that'll make it way quicker. I'm surprised that it didn't mention just get Shadow Ball. But beyond that, easiest fight in the game, by far, at least in terms of stats. And it's quite interesting that, although Abra only has one move by default, it can learn different moves, so it is able to use them to its advantage to still attack, despite usually only knowing Teleport by default. But in that case, we actually use its normal iconic move to its advantage, which I find kind of cool that we do that. But yeah. Okay, now we have Sneasel. Sneasel's another tricky one. Again, and it normally requires an even more trickier spot on the list in order to get it done. In case you're wondering, the big thing to use is to use Ice Start in Agile style a single time to get it really strong, and then use Ice Punch twice. That's the idea, at least with Sneasel. So, in case you're wondering, we purposely picked so that Sneasel would not be an Hisuian Seizo, because if you use a Hisuian Seizo, it requires more around level 80 or 70-ish or so. With this strategy, you can do it as early as level 60. But anyways, this is the next one that, or at least one of the last ones we can do, so we're doing that next. And as you can see, Sneasel's Path of Solitude is kind of interesting. And this is why it has to be specifically that. But anyways, the only reason why we're using Ice Shard and Ice Punch instead of other stuff is because it's physical. So anyways, Okay, this is the one I was actually thinking about. I actually did not think about this before, because I was like, oh, isn't there one move where I just do other stuff? Also, that is not good. I've never seen it do that before. Usually this guy likes to use area, so that might just be an immediate reset, because it could potentially make my move miss now, and that's what happened. That's what I was worried about. Alright, time for a double move. Alright. So that was just RNG nonsense there. Usually, it says on the splits, it'll usually use Aerial Ace, but for some reason it didn't, which is bad luck. So we actually have to redo that, because as you see, Indigo's Pokemon this time is not limited to one move. According to the setup, it'll use either Aerial Ace or Mud Bomb at random, and you want it to not use Mud Bomb. So because it did that, we have to redo the fight. And yes, not all of these Path of Solitudes are consistent, in case you didn't already notice. Some of them are actually incredibly random. Again, it does Mud Bomb! Well, Dana Gilgar, could you chill for just a second? This is the second time he's done it. When he's obscured, it gives a 70% chance to just miss anything. And that's super annoying. What's funny is it even says that it's Aerial Ace that he uses. Oh, hello. Okay. Well, that's odd. Well, if we use Ice Shard, we can at least get an extra move in, so let's do that first. Then use Ice Punch. Okay, somehow his move missed, which I guess Mud Bomb isn't perfectly accurate, so I guess we could have just had that happen instead, which worked, thankfully. We are about to die, by the way, and we survived because of luck. Oh, no. Oh. Bonus XL L candy for completing Path of Solitude with 10 people. Interesting. That's actually kind of cool. Alright. Alright, well, at least we dealt with that now. As you can see, Path of Solitude is not easy, because again, it's only one Pokemon. You can't use any items in the battle that you use the Pokemon with. And once you actually get in there, it's one-on-one. You cannot use any more Pokemon to help you either, which makes it rather annoying to complete if you don't have the right setup like I do, because, well, yeah, it could just take a very long time. Not to mention there's other stuff, like if you have good RNG stuff, you can have it survive a bit sooner, depending on RNG, but that won't always be consistent. But yeah. And yes, I did do some research, and I found out Magikarp's requirement for Path of Solitude is actually level 90, which is way higher than I would want to do. So instead, I'm going to use all of my XP items I farmed up from other stuff to get it more around level 80, and we'll attempt the challenge on that instead. It will be doable, it just is going to be slightly annoying because we may not survive. The big thing is, if we have 212 defense and 208 or so speed, then we're guaranteed to live through 2 of them, assuming they don't crit, that is. That is quote-unquote, if they don't crit. Beyond that, Magikarp's Path of Solitude is surprisingly simple. There's not much to do. You just have to survive the 2 moves. And that's it. And that's about it. And moves do also do various damage, so I guess sometimes you can survive, potentially. And I like how the Pokemon is only 55, but because it's self-destruct, it just does so much damage that it can destroy Pokemon that... Okay, well, I just noticed something. Its HP is nowhere near 212, or actually, well, at least 200, so we need to get it up slightly higher than that, that's for sure. We also need to check its summary, which I always forget. Let's see. It has the correct defense, but it doesn't necessarily have the correct HP. So we'll see. Oh, whatever. We'll use one to get a single level. A singular level, and then try again. Because now it'll be more around the level that it needs to be. I will say Magikarp's Path of Solitude kind of seems silly at first because it's like, how can Magikarp defeat anything? It's the worst Pokemon. Until you realize the Pokemon that you're facing off against just kills itself anyway. I guess that makes it a bit easier. But that doesn't make it any easier of a fight. I think it definitely has the right defense now, if it didn't before. The problem is, and we have to deal with the RNG part of it. Also, I just realized, as you can see, it actually did exactly half that time, so we're getting really close, actually. Closer than I thought. I'm just gonna try this one more time. I feel like that was really close. And yes, I did max out its HP and defense, in case anybody was wondering. Because obviously, without that, there's not really a good way that you can survive this otherwise. Okay, the big problem with this one is the HP, as you see, is very, very low in HP. And that's the big problem. And this is why this challenge is so difficult. Just because out of all the challenge, this one requires the most grinding more than anything else. Like, getting any Pokemon to level 90 alone is annoying enough. But then having to get it close to, like, level 100 just to defeat a single Pokemon, yeah, that's kind of annoying. Not to mention, it gets slower and slower for level ups. And I like how, despite it being level 90, it's not going to be even close to finishing it. Well, we don't have time to grind that lot, so we're just gonna go for it. Defensive nature increase definitely helps out a lot, but other than that, that's all we get. Now you can see why Magikarp's challenge is kind of annoying. It can be done at lower levels, it's just really difficult. And I do not have the target HP value, so we'll have to rely a bit on RNG. And what I mean by RNG is every single move that is done by Electrode has random rolls it can do. It can do multiple other stuff. So actually, while I do this, I should probably talk a little bit more on how damage values even work. For those of you who don't know, Pokemon damage values are not necessarily the same. In fact, they are completely random. And that really hasn't changed, which is partially why it almost survived one of the attacks, because that one attack it did weaker damage. That's because it has multiple rolls it can do. The first is the average roll, which is kind of a middle roll that it could do. And of course, you also have to mention the fact that it can randomly crit as well. If it crits, that's an immediate loss, obviously. From what I've learned, crit seems to be like a 1-4, 1-5 chance, and it's been made rarer in the racing games. So it's completely random. But yeah, beyond that, all we have to do really is we need to just keep on throwing ourselves at this and hope for the best. And yes, you could be level 100 and probably still die to this thing, just because that's how difficult Magikarp's Path of Solitude really is. It's by far the worst to do. But essentially what the damage value is basically from what is determined, there are basically a 1 in 16 chance that is rolled across the different damage values. And that random roll determines how much damage you actually take. So, while one fight you might die in a couple of other fights, if you get lucky enough, you could actually win earlier. You just need a good luck. And one of the best things you want is to get what's called a roll. In every single Pokemon game, sometimes a move will do very little damage to the point where it'll roll. What a roll signifies is simply the move doing similar damage but not doing as much damage, which you probably saw happen there. Like, I'm not sure if that was exactly correct, but what you just saw there was probably a roll. If we get that 2 times, or decent rolls, we can actually survive, which just happened. Speaking of which, we won just because of that. This is why I talked about it, because I knew that if I talked about it enough, Magikarp would eventually survive. See, we don't have to do exact stats, we just need good luck. Alright, well, we did it. By far the most random of the challenges. It's not hard by any means, just super annoying to just consistently throw yourself at the same Pokemon over and over again. Well, since we took so long to do that, and I need to make sure this is right. Let's see here. Oh wait, no. No, wait. Oh, yeah, wait, no, now I remember. I want to look at and make sure Magikarp actually has the icon I'm looking for, which is the spike icon, which is that. Actually, it's further down. Oh, and yes, by the way, in case you didn't already notice, I completed a lot more Pokemon this time around. Alright, well. Anyway, alright, I just wanted to confirm that, and I figure, since I buffed it all this much, I may as well evolve it to a Gyarados and use it later, because when Magikarp evolves, it becomes one of the strongest Pokemon in the entire game, and I feel like if we had enough power, we could potentially do Gyarados' Path of Solitude as well. So I figure let's evolve it and kind of just keep it so we could potentially use it a bit later. And now look at this, it just gets so much more moves when it actually becomes big. So let's start by just putting some strong moves into it, and I guess give it Crunch for now. I won't do anything else because, as you can see, it might kind of out of time, but there we go. Now, in a matter of minutes, we have a level 9 Magikarp. So the same Magikarp that we used to defeat the Path of Solitude, we have now evolved into Big Boy Gyarados, and now it's definitely, it looks really overpowered. And because of all that tanking power it has, it's probably going to stay alive for quite a bit. With that in mind, though, we're basically done with this video. But not necessarily fully. I am still going to put these Pokemon back in the party. I just have to do that before I can do anything else. And yes, when I said that I wouldn't necessarily leave Samurott out of the party, I didn't necessarily say that fully. I'm still definitely going to occasionally leave out of the party, but when I can, I will try to use it more often. Speaking of which, I'm not sure, but they may have removed Earthquake. The reason why I initially got Gliscor was to hopefully use Earthquake, which is one of the more busted ground-type moves, and for some reason it just wasn't popping. Well, that's about it. That was quite interesting, I think. I definitely did really well, if anybody would say so myself. So, hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace. So lovely, like you enjoy, cut, rate, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.